Our next guest is the president of FWD.us, an organization that promotes policies to keep the US competitive in a global economy, starting with immigration reform. Let's bring in Todd Schulte. Todd, thank you so much for being with us. So one of the things that this administration is saying that it's the escalating hostility to Afrikaners in South Africa is part of this issue. It's citing grave humanitarian concerns, as well as the racism and discrimination that white South Africans face within South Africa, and that bringing more white South Africans here to the United States is part of the US's national interest. Obviously, this comes at a time when the US is severely limiting refugees from other countries. Just give us your take on what's happening here.
So, just to start with the situation in South Africa, there is not a genocide of white people there. Like, we should be very clear about that. The administration and others can echo this far-right rhetoric, but it's simply not true. And this has been looked at over and over and over again. So let's just start with kind of the clean fact there for people who may be less familiar with the situation there. Secondly, this is part of an overall attack, and this stands out. This administration has worked to make nearly every single legal immigration avenue to the United States incredibly hard or shut them off. And this is the one exception. So to put this into context, so far in this fiscal year, there have been about 6,600 people who've come through the refugee resettlement system. 99.5% of those people are white Afrikaners. 3 people, only 3 from the rest of the world. So there's about 3 million white Afrikaners there, and we've welcomed about 1 out of 800 people there. I'm sure many of them are great people. I'm not attacking them personally. But for the other 7.8 billion people in the world who live outside the United States, we're talking about 3 people total. This administration could not be more clear. This is about moving back to the sorts of racial quota laws and racial preferences that have been one of the worst hallmarks historically of the United States that we've moved away from.
So, Todd, by law, the administration must consult Congress on this emergency determination. Given how polarized our political system is right now, we've got midterm elections coming up as well. What specific leverage do lawmakers have to successfully try to reverse or at least challenge this move?
I think it's a great question to ask. So, right now today, Congress is actually debating this large reconciliation bill to provide another $71 billion on top of the $200 billion that ICE and CBP got last year. Now, Democrats are opposed to this, but what I would love to see is for some House Republicans or Senate Republicans who both think that Congress should not be focused on providing hundreds of billions of dollars for ICE and CBP at a time when the American public wants people to be focused on the cost of living. They shouldn't be doing that by paying for it with healthcare cuts. But, are there some Republicans maybe watching who will stand up and say, my family came here as refugees. I believe in the refugee system. It has been a bipartisan system for many years. Maybe we can have a refugee system that is not 99% plus just for white Afrikaners. And that is a moment of leverage because that is a huge priority for this administration.
Just in terms of what the consequences are, when you have, white South Afrikaners aside, when you have the US administration working tirelessly to limit refugees from countries that are in dire humanitarian straits, be it war-torn countries, be it famine, what are the global ramifications of that, just in terms of geopolitical consequences, instability, economic consequences of that? What is the ripple effect?
Well, to start at the center of that ripple, we should be clear. People will die. Vulnerable people who have been told that America is a beacon of hope for them will die. And the people around them will see these people die. Countries will be destabilized. And America is sending a signal to the world that we are not just closing ourselves off temporarily, but heading in a really scary authoritarian direction. That is a terrible geopolitical tool that we are using. Yeah, I believe deeply in the humanitarian process here, but also we should be really clear. The Americans who live here today have greatly benefited. American competitiveness, American foreign policy has all greatly benefited from having a refugee system and a humanitarian system that welcomes people here. And instead, if you look at a country like Haiti, torn by instability next to the United States. We have a State Department saying no one should go there. It's a level 4 warning. At the same time, this administration is trying to take away legal status from hundreds of thousands of Haitians and send them back to danger and through deportation. So this is sending a clear signal about who the United States is at its core, and it's not one that I think so many Americans like me and others and your viewers support.
Todd Schulte, thank you so much. We appreciate it. President of Forward.us, we appreciate it. We'll be right back with more.